Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is actually slightly different from the normal vlog style content that I do. So I'm gonna be doing a book review of all the books that I've read in the past 2 years. Specifically this just nice it was these 10 books. So these 10 books. I actually filmed this the other day, but the audio kind of stopped halfway, so I'm recording this again. But I created my own scale on how I'm gonna rate these books over here from 1 to 10. So I've rated all of them, and I will just give a little rundown on what the book is about, and also my thoughts and like who I would recommend it to, and maybe some of my favorite quotes from each book. And along the way, I will tell like little bits of life update and the journey and the process, and it will make sense why I read certain books in a certain order. The first book is American Psycho by Bret, Easton, Ellis. I got this super cool cover one, and it's just plain, and it's just a little like thumbprint blood splatter here at the bottom, and that's it. It's so slick. I love this cover of the book. I know there's different versions. I know there's one that I read there's like a creepy little face on it. Yeah, I don't really like that one. I love this one. And this book is obviously a solid 8 out of 10 for me because it just ticks all the boxes of me loving true crime and psycho serial killers. So if you don't really know what this book is about, is it follows this guy called Patrick Bateman, who is your typical 6'5", blue eyes finance bro on Wall Street, and he has issues like all men do. He's a psychopath, obviously, addicted to his superficial perfect life. So kind of imagine like Harvey from Suits if he was a serial killer kind of vibe, but yeah, with no empathy, obviously. Anyways, this book is really cool. I wish I could have like analyzed this book for literature classes because I would have ate this shit up. Like the book already opens. I did like some little notes and research on some quotes that I like, or certain parts of the book that stand out to me after finishing the book. Honestly, it was a really hard read because the start was a bit boring. There's just a lot of words, and it makes sense because he is so meticulous. Like he's a psychopath, so he's like obsessed with like patterns and like having everything in order and having his life seem like picture perfect, but actually it's not. Opening of the book is actually a quote from Dante's Inferno. Yeah, we love Dan Brown. And yeah, it's actually the quote saying, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." It's got in blood red lettering on the side of the chemical bank near the corner of 11 and 1st. Yeah, that's the start of the book. So like you already know what you're getting into. And if I'm not wrong, the book also ends with a quote from Dante's Inferno. No, okay, I'm wrong. But it links. It links. It ends with the words, "This is not an exit," from John Paul Sartre. That guy's existential play, No Exit. It's about people locked in a room together for eternity, like they're trapped. So the theme of like devil and hell is very present throughout this entire book. It does get really gory and very detailed and very specific, but it makes sense for this book to be this way because of how the character is. And if it was written in a less detailed kind of way, it kind of takes away from the essence behind the book. So solid 8 out of 10. Loved it. Strong start. So after American Psycho, I read this book, The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. To say I was disappointed is true. Essentially, this book is what the title says it is. So this bunch of girls survive really horrible like tragedies that have happened to them or their family, and they're like the final girls, so they're the last one remaining. There's a lot of like inspiration from old slasher films, and this is the book. And all the girls in this support group, all their stories are kind of inspired by those like slasher movies, and like very old school campy horror film kind of vibe, if you get what I mean. So then the book centers around them and their therapist and this support group, and they slowly get like killed off one by one, and you follow this protagonist that is pretty unlikable and annoying through her journey on trying to find out like who is murdering all these girls. The reason why it's a 6 out of 10 is because the ending is not satisfying. Like when you find out who the killers really are, like as with any other mystery book, you know, you want that sense of like satisfaction, like oh my god, or like I didn't see this coming, oh I can't believe I missed out, like oh it hits her or him or whoever, right? This book didn't give me that at all, and I was pretty sad. I was really disappointed. Like I had guesses throughout while reading the book, who's the killer, obviously, and it wasn't who I thought it was, but who it ended up being didn't feel right either, if that makes sense. Overall, just 6 out of 10. Like, it's okay. Would I read it again? No. Would I recommend it to people? Probably not. But yeah, this is the second book I've read. Moving on to the third book. Doesn't need any introduction because it is none other than It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which is gonna be a movie soon with Blake Lively starring in it, which I am not really very happy about, but I love Blake Lively, but she is not the one to play Lily. I think this book has been talked about enough on TikTok, and it's a 5.5 out of 10 for me because I'm sorry, but no, like no. It is like something I would read if I was a 12-year-old girl starting on her whole like reading journey. This is something I would pick up, obviously, and it is a very easy read. There are definitely certain quotes and parts that I do like. The Dear Ellen part was not it for me. I laughed so hard the first time it like appeared in the book. I was like, really? You're writing to Ellen DeGeneres as your secret like pen pal? It's just weird. You could have picked like someone so much better. This quote is not horrendous. All humans make mistakes. What determines a person's character aren't the mistakes we make. It's how we take those mistakes and turn them into lessons rather than excuses. Hey, good life lesson. Yeah. I think I just take the quote like on the very surface level for what it is, not maybe in relation to the book, but just as a quote, if you get what I mean. So it was a very easy read. Probably finished this in about a week. Who would I recommend this to? Probably like some 12-year-old girl. Anything beyond that, like I don't think you should read this. You can totally give this a miss if you want to. There is nothing too like mind-blowing or exciting about this book. But yeah, It Ends With Us. Yeah. This book I'm very biased about because I finished this book in 2 days when I was quite at a low point in my life and a very shitty internship too, and kind of seeing a pretty shit guy, and I used this book as a total escapism for me for 2 days. Totally immersed myself into the book because it was this book, Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I know a lot of people don't like this book, and it is a spicy book, but I love me spicy books. This brought me back like so much nostalgia to Wattpad days, when Wattpad was a thing, before TikTok, before all this social media shit. It's basically about these two pen pals that have been writing to each other, this girl and this guy, and obviously they promise like never to see each other, no photos, nothing, but when they meet, like sparks fly and all that, and he's like a singer in a band and all that, and very like fulfilling all my rock star girlfriend fantasy dreams. So yeah, this book literally suits me so well, and it comes with a playlist, so obviously I'm gonna like it. If you start out your book with a playlist and I see stuff like Linkin Park, Pink, Halsey, All American Rejects, Bring Me the Horizon, Eminem, Avril Lavigne, Breaking Benjamin, like even Taylor Swift is in here, okay? Trust me, I'm gonna like this book. And not gonna lie, this playlist slaps. I give this like a 6 out of 10. Yeah, like a solid 6. not like a eek 6, like a solid 6. And I know it really shouldn't be higher. It probably should be like a 5 or something, but this book is a 6 for me. Okay, I want to give it a 7, but I stopped myself. He like wrote this on her locker. Anything to not need you, anything to not fall for you, anything to look at a girl who's not you, but baby, there's nothing but you. So sweet. And I think that's the lyrics to the song or something that he wrote for her. Obsessed. One of a good read. Like guilty pleasure. Okay, 6 out of 10. Very nice. This book also doesn't need any further introduction because this book fucking slaps. Okay, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Come on, guys. This book is amazing. The reason why there's no tabs on this book is because I read it on my iPad, and my friend actually bought this for me after I finished the book because we were doing a Secret Santa exchange thing. Shout out to Naomi for getting this for me. I would reread this book again and then tab again on the actual hard copy. But if you don't know what this book is about, it's about Evelyn Hugo, famous Hollywood star sensation, retired for years and finally writing her memoir and like telling her life story to this journalist to like make it into like a book. So it goes through obviously her 7 husbands, and we find out who her real love is, which is Miss Cecilia. It's so good. There's no one that I've talked to that didn't like this book. Okay, like Taylor Jenkins Reid, I want to read all her books. Like Carrie Soto is back and Daisy Jones and the Six. Those 2 are on like my TBR list, and I really want to read them. This book is amazing. It goes, the chapters kind of go through like each husband and like the timeline of her life, but then in relation to her one true love, which is Miss Cecilia. Like they also have little cutouts, like news cutouts, because she is a famous like celebrity, obviously, right? So the headlines are gonna be about her. It's like kind of like, imagine if Taylor Swift put out a memoir about all the boys that she's dated in her life. Like she spills the tea about Tom Hiddleston. She spills the tea about like Calvin Harris. She spills the tea about Joe Alwyn. Okay, imagine that. We would eat this shit up. That is this book. I eat it up. Solid book. Gave this a 7.5 out of 10. Very easy read. Very easy to get immersed in this book. Very easy to fall in love with the characters. Like just amazing book. So this next book is also like a mystery thriller kind of thing. It is The Silent Patient. This book has been talked about a lot too. I've seen it on TikTok too, but I actually found out about this book from the one and only Miss Stephanie Sue, Miss Mangobutt. She did like a baking a mystery, baking a murder video about this book, I think, and I watched like I think the first 15-20 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, wait, this is super cool, let me go get the book so I don't spoil it for myself. Basically about this patient who has like this perfect life until she shot her husband in the head 5 times, and she's been in this like mental institution for the last 6 years, and she hasn't like said a word. She doesn't speak to anyone, she doesn't talk to anyone, and this like guy is trying to figure out like why. Like, you know, like when you read the book and you're trying to guess like what happens next, and then like I said previously, whether it's like the person you think is who did it or like what is the ending, and then you get something unsatisfying and you're not happy. This book is goddamn satisfying. Like the twist is like, whoa, okay, did not see that coming, and it is good. Like a solid good read. Moving on to a book that I bought because it had a really cute cover. Okay, so I saw this book multiple times at Kinokuniya, and I love the cover, and I love that it's Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Like I thought it was like so cool, and I had no idea what this book was about. So I went on TikTok obviously to find out what this book is about and what the reviews were. Maybe my TikTok algorithm was a bit skewed at that point, but this book kept appearing at like those videos where they're like, oh, you should read this book in your 20s. Everyone in your 20s should read this book, blah blah blah. And this book popped out amongst other books too, right? I was like, okay, so maybe it is a good story then, right? I'm in my 20s, I want to read more books like that. And it's not. It follows this artist Cleo, and on her journey on life with this guy called Frank. So she met Frank and they fall in love. Frank's a lot older than her, but Cleo has some mental issues, obviously, that she's dealing with, and Frank is a raging alcoholic, and they are in a very toxic and weird relationship together. I didn't like this book because there's a lot of unnecessary characters that I think didn't add to the story at all, like Frank's sister and Cleo's best friend, which I don't know why they were given an arc each on their own, which I think was very unnecessary to the story, and I wanted it to be like more on Cleo and Frank's relationship. And I also think Cleo and Frank are both very unlikable. Cleo is a total drama queen, like not trying to discriminate against her mental issues and stuff like that in the book or the mental issues itself, but she really needed to get help and he needed to get help too, and yeah, and it was a very very toxic relationship. Like, it's not the kind of book where it's like a toxic relationship where you read and you learn from it or whatever. It's just like no, just don't be together, guys. Like, I didn't really get much out of it, and I did not understand why you need to read this in your 20s. Also, they had a flying squirrel pet named Jesus. I'm sorry, but what? I think that's all you need to know about this book. Okay, 5 out of 10. Like, pass. Moving on to my non-fiction era, which happened because at this point of time in my life, I was going through like a long distance relationship with my ex-boyfriend, and it was rough, okay, to say the least. It was really rough, and my best friend, Miss Tivia, gave me this book before she left for Sydney. So this book is obviously Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This book needs no introduction either. You have seen this book everywhere, and it makes so much sense for my best girlfriend to give this book for me, because I would recommend this book to other girlfriends too and buy this book for them. It's essentially about the author's life in her 20s, from her early 20s to her late 20s, and the journey she goes through. So it is like a story about love, literally, like about love, not just romantic love, platonic love, like love with family, love with friends. Like, it's about that. Like, this is essentially what it's about, and how your perspective of love changes over the years. Like, you might be boy crazy when you're 21, but by the time you're 25, it might be like love for your job, love for like passion for something or whatever. So this book kind of goes through her life like that. And I think, yes, this is a book that you should read in your 20s for the girlies, and especially if you're in your younger 20s. I think this would resonate a lot more, because the way she wrote this book is like a big sister kind of thing. It's like getting advice from an older female figure that you respect, and it's like close friends with you, and the way she writes is just very friendly, and it feels more like a fiction, like storybook, than an actual like memoir. So Divya gave this to me, and I think I finished this in about a month or so, because it was hard getting through books when mentally I was not that great during the whole like long distance relationship thing, and I knew that like this book would give clarity and guidance and whatever, but it was hard like fighting that battle of actually like wanting to get help, like reading. This is, I guess, a form of me trying to get help, and also like trying to like stay in that delusional state too, so this book was great, like really good read. Obviously the most famous quote in this book is the one where she says like, everything I know about love I know from like women, I learned from like my friendships with women. And I think that is so solid, because I think about it now, like let's say my mom, she's in her late 40s, and her group of friends, I hang out with them too, and they're super fun, they're super cool, and they're like all like Like, the girly pops stay, okay? The girlfriends stay, the men go, okay? The only consistent thing in your life are honestly your girlfriends. And we should really value them and make time for them. Girlhood is amazing. Like, girlhood, I wouldn't trade anything, okay, for like being a girl in this life. I think it's a wonderful and great thing. And there's so many things and experiences I feel like as a woman you just feel more and you just experience more compared to men. Give your girlfriends a hug, go talk to them, give your mom a hug. This book is great. Everything I Know About Love, 7 out of 10. Solid book. Moving on to my favorite book so far out of this whole lot. These last two books are my favorite two out of the whole lot, honestly. Notes on Heartbreak by Annie Lord. This book, okay, when I say it took me months to finish this book, I'm not kidding. Because LDR became breakup. So I was really going through it. And what I said previously about like how reading a book and the guidance thing and getting help, yeah, it was basically this. So this book is about Annie's breakup with this guy that she has been together with for 5 years, and she writes this book in like flashbacks and also in the process of how you kind of get over a breakup too. And as I was reading it, I was like going through my own breakup too, and I was like really bad for a while, and it took me so long to get through this book because I know that this book probably holds some truth or like some quotes or something that would enlighten me, and in my head I kind of didn't want to move on at that point, so I just refused to read this book. I just did not want to face reality, so I just kind of put this book aside and didn't want to read it. But then, something snapped in me one day, and it's like, okay, maybe let's read this book. This book is brilliant because the way she writes it is like how you would actually get over a breakup, like how like maybe one day you're totally okay and then suddenly like you flash back and you think about something and then it links back to now again, and like maybe if you see them again for the first time, like how do you feel, what happens, or maybe you even hook up with them again after the breakup. Like it goes through the whole thing, and it's so brilliant because she compares a lot of her writing with other writings too. She even references like Everything I Know About Love, so she would reference like even scientific studies about love and everything. So it's really like notes, like people's notes and her notes on heartbreak and how to get over it and how and what love is. Like this is a lot more on like relationship as compared to Everything I Know About Love is more about like friendship and other types of love. Yes, this book does touch on how friends like help you through the breakup and stuff too, like that kind of love, but mostly on like romantic love. I finished this book before the trip to Australia, and it was perfect because then I had my whole Everything I Know About Love era there with my girlfriends, and it was great, and I felt so like a sense of this like relief, like catharsis like moment, okay, and it's like, oh my god, it makes so much sense, and I was like, okay, kind of like better throughout the breakup. It was like 4 months after the breakup at that point. It took me that long to kind of finish this book, but it did really help. The book is just so good, guys. Please, 9 out of 10. It's my favorite book ever. I will reread this forever. I'm bringing this book to the UK with me. I don't care. I'm probably not gonna bring much of my collection with me, but this book is definitely going to the UK with me, and I will. If some red ass looking man breaks my heart again, I will read this book again, or I will read this book before he breaks my heart, so he wouldn't. Yes, this book is really good. To all my girly pops out there in your self-love, self-healing, like Bret Goes Summer and everything, okay, don't need no man. This book is the way to go. Moving on to trying to get back into loving to read. Okay, maybe not so like depressing books anymore. And I saw this book on TikTok, and a lot of people have been giving raving reviews about it, and I also see it in like Kino a lot. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and it lived up to its standards. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. So this book follows Sam and Sadie on their journey on creating games. So this book has a lot of metaphors and references to games, which I think it's really freaking cool. I love the way the author references like life and games. I've never loved a fiction book like that in a long time. Like as compared to those, like I usually go for very safe books, like very safe genres. I would say like romance, you can't really go that south with it. You get what I mean? And I'm very used to that kind of genre. This one, I'm not really sure what kind of genre I put this in. Yeah, but I really like this, and I want to read more books like this. So if anybody has any recommendations to more books kind of similar to this style, I really liked it. So for example, this quote, and this is the truth of any game, it can only exist at the moment that it is being played. It's the same with being an actor. In the end, all we can ever know is the game that was played in the only world that we know. Which is a great quote because it kind of reminds me of like, you know, the simulation conspiracy theory that we're in a simulation. It's like if you don't open the door to this new world, like you haven't unlocked it yet, kind of thing. It makes me think about like life in general. It's like it's basically a game, but you don't revive. You just get kind of one shot through this thing, and you have to unlock certain chapters. You have to do tasks to, you know, like level up and stuff like that. The protagonists, yes, the two of them, Sadie and Sam, they can be a little bit annoying at times, but the story is worth it. Like the story as a whole, I think it's very well written and it's good, but it deals with a lot of like trigger warning stuff too, which I wasn't expecting, but it wasn't like too shocking, I would say. Even John Green gave a review of the book. So yeah, this book was pretty good. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. Anyways, that was my book review. I know this is a different content to what I usually do, like vlog style. I'm trying to do more like reflective content where I can give my opinions about certain things and kind of voice out how I feel about certain topics, and maybe do more reviews like that or more reflective journals about maybe my breakup or other topics in life. I'm working on a couple other videos along the way. Hopefully they do okay. Hopefully this video does well too, maybe. I don't know. But we will see. I hope you guys actually enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this video, or any comments about any of the books or any other book recommendations that you would want me to read. I'm open to anything, any genre. Honestly, just a solid good book will make me very happy. That's it for this video then. See you guys in the next one, and have a lovely day.